All right, welcome to a Wednesday. It is the 30th of December, 2020. It's the eve before the eve, the second to last day of the year. And if this year was a fish, I'd throw it right back. That's for sure. Okay, a big show today. Co-hosting with me today, I got to say hello, Juan Padró. How are you? The partner and with Culinary Creative. Good to see you.
How you doing? Glad to be here. It's an exciting show for the modern eater.
You know what? It is an exciting show for all of us together. Yeah. We have a lot of folks that are tuning in from the service industry. I got to tell you, unfortunately, the governor won't be joining us today. Just kidding. I have a sick.
Then I'm out of here, man.
I have a sick.
I don't know. Did you just bait me here to hang out with you?
That's right. That's right. We are live from Studio
What a
Kitchen.
weirdo.
I know. Studio Kitchen, Colorado. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have a good conversation today.
Yeah, I think so.
The governor's going to join us here momentarily. We are standing by. Also on the show, Sonia Riggs from the Colorado Restaurant Association, the president and CEO. She'll be joining us along with Katie Lazor from Eat Denver, the director. And we think the world of both of those gals.
Absolutely.
So today's kind of a service industry day. And we need some, resolution. We need to talk things through.
I think we need a hug.
We need to talk it out. And as we stand by for the governor, a couple of little just clean up things that we're doing here. End of the year. We need to look forward, Juan.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, 2020, we're not going to change anything that's happened in the past.
That's right.
And my hope is that we're not really focused on that today when we talk to the governor, but solutions, meaningful solutions, and some information to help us move forward and heal and get our industry back and vibrant again and being a part of the community that is just so important to Denver. So
as Culinary Creative and managing partner and the things that you do, boy, just instrumental, the things that you do and the inspiration that you've shown me and others to really just keep us going in a positive direction. That means a lot, Juan.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got an awesome team that allows me to go out and frees up my time to do other things, and we're certainly very blessed in our organization, and we're blessed to be in the hospitality community in Denver because there's a lot of people that have stepped up. So.
I think it's capsulized in the name, Culinary Creative, and that's exactly what you try and do.
That's right.
Consistently. Moving into 2021, boy, that's just a good ring in the ears, isn't it? I mean, it sounds good.
Sounds better than 2020.
It does, but there's going to be some challenges ahead as well. And that's really what we need to focus on. But there's a little bit of healing that needs to take place as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, this is we're not through this, and we've got some time to go here, and we've got to come up with a plan that works. Not only to protect the health and welfare of our community, but also that protects the mental health and the economy. So there's got to be a good balance there, and our hope today is that we can ask some questions, and Governor Polis is a super thoughtful guy, and hopefully he has some answers today, and hopefully he leaves with some things to think about.
With my years in this business, anytime somebody shows up, that means a lot. If you show up to the dance and you're there and you're gonna answer the questions,
that's right.
That's a stand-up individual, and a lot of people, even folks that voted for Governor Polis, there's a little bit of, especially within the service industry, of like, hey, listen, there's a lot of things that don't make sense right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I can tell you, I've had the opportunity to talk to Governor Polis many times, and he's always been super receptive. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, and he hears me out and listens, and that's, to me, the reason why I support him. And, I don't need to agree with everybody, just like I don't expect them to agree with me all the time. But the fact that he's there, he gives a shit, and, he's a good guy, and hopefully, I think intention is important, and his goal is to get us back open. But, I think there's some other ways to do it.
Absolutely.
So.
Boy, throughout this year, resiliency. Mm-hmm. Wow. Service industry, the resiliency, the creativeness, the toughness, but that togetherness in the family.
Yeah, I mean, people do remarkable things in times of struggle, and you see a lot of inspiration. And my hope is that everybody takes a little time over the next couple days as we close out the year to think about the folks that inspired them and that helped their community and that lifted them up. And whether it's a phone call that you got, or you fed the homeless, or our industry in particular has just done a ton. While we've been getting kicked, while we're down, we're getting back up, and we're taking care of our community, and that's an amazing thing.
Wow, togetherness, and truly to be together, you have to be together, and that's why I really respect that this gentleman is on the show today. He's joining us from, I don't know, it looks great, but it's probably the Jared Polis. Governor, thank you and welcome to the show. It means the world to us, Your Honor, and we appreciate you coming here today.
Yeah, Greg, these are real flags, not some background, like some wallpaper background. That's the real thing.
The real deal.
They're made in China, like all real flags are.
You just made me snort, Governor. That was a good thing. Thank you for that. Starting out with a laugh, and we have to do that. But again, welcome to the show. This is the Modern Eater Show. We believe to be the kind of the underbelly of the service industry here in Colorado. I'm a native. I grew up in Cherry Creek, Colorado. I still live there right now. The men and women within our communities mean the world to me, and I've been serving our community for over 20 years now in broadcasting and journalism. So I know the game, and I'm so thrilled that you're here with us today. So we're going to have a great, honest discussion, but I can tell you right off the bat, Governor, as you're here with myself and Juan Padró, we're not here to burn a bridge. We're here to build a bridge with you here today. And I think that collectively we have to come together, and hopefully this will be a great start of a relationship that can last for much, much more time in the future. Let's begin. So how's your health? You and the first general?
Yeah, we're fully recovered. I had a very, very mild case. Marlon's was worse. He was hospitalized for 2 days, but the steroids brought down the inflammation, and we're all back to normal. Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. Big.
I'm sure most of you, many of you probably had. Have you had staff and friends that have come down with it as well?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. Big plans for New Year's Eve, or are you going to be like me?
Well, from a culinary perspective, of course, one of the worst side effects is the loss of taste and smell. So that was most unfortunate. Mine is mostly back, thankfully, maybe not to full strength, but it was really weird for a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, we had one of our chefs lose his taste of his taste and his smell, and it was pretty odd.
And you're worried. You're like, I hope it comes back. It's like you hear it for some people, it takes like 2 or 3 months, and you're like, oh my God,
that's right.
What happens if I have?
That's right. I was actually with him when it came back, which was amazing to see.
You don't know what you have until it's gone. That's for sure.
And when it's gone, it's literally gone. Like you cannot even taste toothpaste. It's
the
weirdest thing.
Governor, I think we have 15 minutes with you, and we'd love to get the best out of it. Big plans for New Year's Eve, or are you going to be like me and I'm in bed and asleep before midnight?
Well, we'll be cooking for the family, so we're just putting together the menu. My son's 9; he likes to cook too. So I think we're going to make. We have one vegan in the household, so coconut banana cream pie, ginger carrot soup. I think we're still working on some of the entrees.
Oh, absolutely. So New Year's marks a great thing for all of us, and this is kind of a great time for you to be on the show. This is the last show for us for the year, for 2020, and what a year it's been.
We're ready to leave 2020 behind. What a horrific year for everybody, but especially for the restaurant industry, culinary industry, but just a horrible year for everybody.
New Year's kind of marks a new beginning. Patti LaBelle would say it's a new attitude. And we really need that. But in order for us to do that, Governor, there does have to be some healing that goes on right now. There's a lot of angst and animosity, and even folks that have voted for you, but in the service industry, these are all fellow Coloradans. But there's a lot of anger, animosity, and feeling that there's discrimination as well towards these restaurants and bars. Do you understand where that anger and animosity is coming from? And if you do, could you talk about what you believe, where it's coming from?
Well, I think it's not just everybody's angry. We want our lives back. We want our jobs back. We want our lives back. Obviously, our greatest, condolences and love go to those who lost loved ones to COVID. Over 3,500 Coloradans. Just the scale of that is immense. We had a flood in 2013. We lost 6 people, 3,500. But of course, beyond those who've suffered great loss, and I've lost 2 friends now to the virus, one close friend. We want our lives back, our jobs back. Young people want to go out. People want to be able to enjoy restaurants and be out. We were one of the first to reopen restaurants, and they're already open again now for the second wave in many counties. We provided a way to do that. Some counties are doing it, some aren't, but we're doing everything we can to get restaurants open and try to get back to normal.
Okay. Juan?
Yeah, I think, there are some counties that are open. I think Denver's a little bit different because of the amount of restaurants that we have here. And when I think about the 5-star program and the daunting task it would be to try to roll that out in the city of Denver. But, in my mind, I can't get over, the fact that it seems that we're sort of at an inflection point right now where, the damage being done to disadvantaged communities and to, single moms and just really our most vulnerable is surpassing the damage that COVID is doing. And I think that, when I walk in and I've got to tell, a man that he can't, that he's getting laid off and that he can't take care of his family, that's a tough conversation to have. And to me, mental health is an extremely important thing. It seems like it's getting overlooked a little bit. And I think we have long-term effects that we need to pay very close attention to. And I'm sure you have an eye towards that. But are we at that inflection point where we've got to balance this the economic health and the mental health of our people with COVID?
Yeah, everybody feels the brunt of this pandemic differently. For somebody trying to provide for their family, losing hours or even their job, they feel it economically. I can tell you there's also people that live in retirement homes and nursing homes who feel it. They don't feel it as much economically because they have they're done working. They're just sitting there living off their savings, but they feel it psychologically and socially, just the intense isolation, the restrictions around visits. They can't go to the movies. I talked to one gentleman at our veterans retirement home, and he just wanted to be able to play poker again, in the common room with his buddies. He was one of the first people to get the shot. He was a Korean War. He was a Vietnam War veteran. We also inoculated Korean and World War II veterans. So, the good news is there's shots going in the arm every day here in Colorado. We are now inoculating everybody 70 and up. We expect to complete that in about 4 to 5 weeks. That's for the first dose. And that, the 70 and up represent about 78% of the deaths in Colorado. So we really can end that crisis phase of the pandemic, meaning the risk of hospitalization, hospital beds running out, all of that, almost 80% of the deaths pretty soon, which is really, really welcome news.
So can we expect to see some normalcy in dining rooms when that population is vaccinated? Is that what we should be planning on?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say, I think 2021 is going to be a great year. I think it's going to be a banner year for restaurants, culinary industry. I think there's so much pent up demand. I think it's going to be a huge year. As you know, we took several steps as the state. We are letting restaurants keep the 2.9% sales tax they collect January, February. And if the legislature wants to extend that, we'd be willing to. There's the new federal package, which every restaurant should get it through their bank, 3.5 months of payroll. You're aware of that. Forgivable. They'll keep that. So again, it won't start strong. It'll start, it'll start a lot better than it has been. January is going to be a lot better than December. But I think it'll be a very banner year when you look at all 2021 for the industry.
Governor, I have our peers ringing in my ears right now. Try and have the governor focus. Yep. And we really would love to hear, and again, I want to circle back around and refocus to the animosity and the anger of the equality. And please just indulge me for a second. Business equality is a big thing. And right now, there are a lot of businesses that believe they're being singled out. I'll just give you a quick story of Alex Armatos from Sam's Number 3 as I interview him in his parking lot in Glendale, Colorado. His business is empty and decimated, and he's looking at how he's going to furlough or lay off some employees, how he's going to make payroll for the employees that he has, how he's going to be able to pay his rent for the month. And as we're there, we look across the street to the packed King Soopers in Glendale of people flooding that businesses and saying, why, oh, why are we being treated differently than another business? Could you please directly talk to that?
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of willful ignorance in the restaurant industry. They're saying, wait a minute, why can people go to an independently owned clothing store but not here? Here's how the virus spreads. It's very simple. It can spread anyway, but the predominant way it spreads is 15 minutes contact in proximity, close contact. So mixed parties sitting at a dinner table for an hour is exactly how it spreads. Shopping, can it spread? Of course. Is there a much lower risk? Absolutely. You pass somebody, you're checking out, it's 1 minute, you're wearing masks. We're not worried about shopping. That's why every store that wants to be open is open. The small shops, the big shops. It's also important to say that restaurants are not the cause of the spread in their activity. It's not like if you have a problem with salmonella or hepatitis. That's kind of on you, that you have to fix that. This is a customer behavior issue, not a restaurant issue. It's 6 people coming in from 6 different households. One of them has it as contagious, and 5 of 6 walking out with it because there's an hour and a half of close contact without masks. So really, it's it's a close contact without masks. Nothing to do with food, nothing to do with eating, nothing to do with your staff. That's why the scientists and the data is really pointed in this direction.
So if that's the case, why can airports can restaurants at DIA operate at 100% capacity, and that's a city property?
I believe they're takeout, aren't they?
No,
they're generally
they're not.
Dining and they take out.
No, they're sit down.
Yeah.
They're sit down.
It's under federal endeavor. I think all restaurants should be able to be open personally. So hopefully that'll happen soon. I'm glad that at least they're open at DIA. Some of them are independently owned, some of them are chains, but hopefully that'll be the case across the entire restaurant industry soon.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so your people are saying you're out of time. You were a couple minutes late. I do need like 1 or 2 more minutes. I'm telling you, we have to ask you a couple of these questions. So business equality, we talked about. Thank you. Safer at restaurants. Messaging going forward. By you putting a scarlet letter on these restaurants and saying it's not safe to go there, it's putting out messaging that folks are going to have a hard time getting back into restaurants. What will be the messaging from your office as we move forward to help these restaurants with the messaging that it's okay to get back in dining again?
Well, look, I mean, we try to just be transparent and show the data. People should be informed and make their own decisions. Frankly, if you're in your 70s and you haven't been vaccinated yet, you might not go to a restaurant. You might not even go to the grocery store. My parents are having their groceries delivered. They're not even going out. They're 76. They're taking a lot of precautions. Other 76-year-olds may take some risks. Maybe they want to go to restaurants, maybe they don't, but maybe they go grocery shopping. So people should just be informed. If you do go to a restaurant, if you go with your household, much lower risk. That's a much lower risk. The biggest risk is who you go with. It's not the fact that it's a restaurant. There's nothing special about a restaurant. It's who you're with in close contact for an hour and a half. Without masks. That's the risk. I mean, the wait staff, the kitchen staff, much lower risk, reasonable risk to dine out. I probably dined out, and I'm an example of the pent up demand because I love to dine out. We usually dine out, before the pandemic, probably 3 times a week. I support restaurants. We've dined out probably 4 times in restaurants. We order in all the time, by the way, and we try to do takeout instead of delivery to support our restaurants. We do some of both, but we prefer that the delivery doesn't get a cut, but we do some of both. But I can't wait to go out. So instead of going out 3 times a week, we'll probably go out 4 or 5 times a week post-pandemic. But in the meantime, like a lot of consumers, we've gone out less. Many consumers have, even though most restaurants will probably be open for indoor dining in January and even in February. I just don't think the demand will be the same as it normally is.
I feel people rolling their eyes as they get on airplanes and their closest 200 of their closest friends sitting right next to them, or being in a packed Home Depot or shopping for the holiday seasons. I feel them rolling their eyes right now.
Airplanes are moderate risk. I'm not as worried about packed Home Depots or packed stores. As I said, you don't generally have 15 minutes of close contact with somebody at one of those stores. You pass people, you walk by. Even if they have it, you're not likely to get it. You may, but your airplanes are absolutely moderate risk. People know that. I think the CDC has recommended against traveling. People are traveling. You can travel. DIA is open, as you said, but it's moderate risk. And if you're in an at-risk group, if you're over 70, you should probably think twice about flying.
Who are you getting your consultation from? Is there an advisory committee that you look to? If so, who's on it? And if not, why not? For restaurants,
we have a lot. I mean, my goodness, we have talked to almost everybody and hear from almost everybody. So, I mean, I spent a lot of day in consultations with small businesses about how we can better support them, counties about how we can get them to open their restaurants. And we've had mixed successes, We got Douglas to open theirs and Summit to open theirs and Larimer to open theirs. And it's more than just opening them. It's actually really exciting because what it means is as all the restaurants open, those restaurants will be able to have much more capacity than restaurants that haven't gone through, kind of 5-star model. So it's an exciting way not just to open last week or before, but also to kind of build that path to how you can inspire consumer confidence, which is really critical. That consumers know it is a reasonably safe activity, right? Not perfectly safe, just like other activities. Less safe than a grocery store, probably a little more safe than flying. But we put all this stuff out there, and people make their own decisions.
Yeah. Last one. Okay. Decisions, mandates, and the decisions that you make, are they made off of good data or modeling? Because a lot of people want to know that question. Is this modeling?
Yeah, very solid data and modeling. And that's why it's frustrating when people say, wait a minute, why can't people be, dining indoors, but they can be shopping? The two are totally different experiences. You're not in proximity shopping an hour and a half without a mask with anybody. That's not a shopping experience. You have a 3-minute experience and you're both masked, or you walk by somebody. Can you, is it zero risk? No, it's not zero risk. It's low risk. Indoor dining in restaurants, moderate risk. Some states have closed outdoor dining in restaurants. We haven't. We've doubled down. We've raised, $1 million to help fund outdoor expansions at restaurants. Low risk. Some states, they closed outdoor dining as well. We want to get more indoor dining. We want, of course, outdoor dining to thrive, especially in the spring, spread customers out more. But most importantly, it's who you dine with. So people who want to be careful, it's safe to go out with your own family, eat indoors or eat outdoors to be even safer. But if you're having people from 4 or 5 different households getting together, especially with the prevalence of the virus today in Colorado, that is a scenario where it goes from 1 person to 5, and that also means 1 household to 5, because each person might live with 3 or 4 people. So it could go from 1 to 24 people, in a week and a half.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that this is really a municipality decision, not necessarily yours. You want to get the restaurants open, but it's really up to the county or the city, in our case in Denver, to get these things open.
Yeah, well, we've provided some help with that. Like, for instance, in Routt County, they were a little bit slow in doing their local piece, so we just found a way to, and the data supported it, to say the whole county could do it. But generally, the counties that want open are open. I think there's going to be a lot more of a statewide ease of doing that very soon. It's more county, by the way, not city. You said municipal.
Okay.
It's generally more county. I think cities can do it. So I think in El Paso County, like Colorado Springs, is moving a little faster than El Paso County. But the default is the county. Usually it's the county, bigger unit. But we are trying to find a way to bring the entire Denver metro area along. We'll have, I think, some announcements soon on how we can kind of push that to get more of that indoor dining in a safe way going for January.
Governor, I hope you return again. We can't thank you enough for joining us. We would really like to have some follow-up on this. Just take 20 seconds and address and speak directly to the service industry community of anything that you'd like them to know.
Yeah, look, 2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020. It's important that any restaurant owners or financial folks out there get your PPP loans in 3.5 months of operating expenses. Keep people on payroll. They're forgiven. Restaurants are going to be opening more and more for indoor dining. It's important that we respect the safety protocols around that. Extremely important, right? If there's our setbacks and we have to worry again about our hospital capacity like we did 2 or 3 weeks ago, then everything would be on the table. And we don't do anything that just affects restaurants. It's across the entire economy. It's capacity at stores, at gyms, at offices. We're currently in a much better place. I think there'll be a lot more in restaurant dining most of January, probably our whole state in January. And as, especially for the businesses that go above and beyond, a way of identifying that to allow for even more capacity.
Thanks for coming to the dance, Governor. Really respect that. Appreciate it. There he is.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Governor
Thanks.
Jared
Take care.
Polis.
See you later.
Woo. Okay, that goes by quick, right?
Goes by quick.
I mean, I had forever. And again, okay, let's do this. Let's break off. We'll come back. We've got a lot of work to do.
That's right.
But we also want to discuss what we just heard.
Yes.
And did we hear anything?
I think a couple things.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure out what those are.
All right.
That's an interesting thing. Talking to politicians, you got to know the dance and how to do it and refocus. You go back. He goes to default talking points.
That's right.
Which you have to do. But there is a human side of this. And I believe in my heart that Jared Polis is a good human being that wants the best.
I can tell you that if you believe in me, I believe in him. So.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got a lot of stuff. We want reaction from you, too. Okay, what did you just hear? And trust me, you guys, I got the messages. I hear you say, you owe it to us. Let them have it. You know, hammer him. Speak all collectively. This is the voice. I get it. And this is not a race. Okay, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And if we're truly trying to figure this out, we need allies. We don't need adversaries. That's a big part. And if we can get them thinking, right? If we can get them thinking of the, you know, hey, listen, we're onto that. We're sniffing that one out. We're onto that trail. There needs to be, folks. I wanted to hear names in an advisory committee. I wanted them to hear Juan Padró. I want him to. I want him to say those words. Okay. So if you have a comment, I mean, let us have it. You can go to, if you want us to see it, you have to go to the Modern Eater Facebook page and click on that stream there. If you're watching it from another Facebook page, you're going to want to go to the Modern Eater page. We'll take your comments. I mean, we'll field them. I mean, I don't know what else we can do besides that. It goes quick. Again. We're not going to come across. We'll take a break. We'll come back. The Modern Eater Show continues.
Hey. What's going on, everybody? This is Brother Luck from Lucky Dumpling, 4 by Brother Luck in Colorado Springs, and I am rocking with the Modern Eater. You're watching them, you're tasting them, you're knowing everything there is to know about Colorado.
Hi, Charlie from Brews Beers here. Our new Belgian Abbey 4-pack is a mixed package of the 4 core beers made in Abbey and Trappist breweries in Belgium. So we have a single, a double, a triple, and a quadruple in one package. Now, quadruples are the emperors of Belgian monastery ales. They're dark in color, with a dense tan head, and alcohol ranging from 8 to 12%, so they're pretty strong. Quadruples are very rich and complex with big maltiness, spice, and flavors of raisins, cherries, and plums. Alcohol is apparent in the mouthfeel, but not overwhelming, even at 10.5% ABV. So the finish is long, complex, and dry, and they're great beers anytime, by themselves or with hearty foods. Pick up your Abbey 4-pack at either Brews location, 67th and Pecos, or at Colfax in York, and at fine liquor stores throughout the Denver metro area. Take home some Belgian-style badassery today.
Welcome to Tommyknocker Brewery here in beautiful Idaho Springs. We brew normally twice a day. Currently brew about 18 different beers. And right here is our brew kettle, steam-fired brew kettle, and we generate our steam with natural gas. We get our natural gas from Encore Energy and Brian Rizzuto. I really like working with Brian because he explains how the system works of getting your natural gas. It's not a mystery. I actually understand our energy bill.
Watching the Modern Eater, and now back to the show.
All right, it's a beautiful day in Denver, Colorado. Thanks for joining us on the Modern Eater Show live from Studio Kitchen, Colorado. Myself, Greg Hollenback, Jay Parker on the ones and twos, and Juan Padró co-hosting with me today. Let's get some reaction. We're going to have Sonia Riggs from Colorado Restaurant Association and Katie Lazor from Eat Denver. Before that, the guys that bring you this type of programming are guys like Jeff Rourke in A-Plus Beverage Solutions. A-Plus Beverage Solutions, you got to get ready. I mean, you heard it from the governor, right? It's going to be a good year, and we all have to have that hope. But you want to have that beer delicious and tasting like the brewer intended to taste. What does Jeff Rourke do? Not only as a family man and a small business owner, he puts in delicious tap systems, right? Pour your beer. He also does maintenance, which is going to be important. If you're pouring inefficient beer, what are you doing, Jay?
You are pouring your money down the drain.
Don't pour your money down the drain. Get a hold of Jeff Rourke and A-Plus Beverage Solutions. Simple phone call away at 720-272-3809. That's his cell phone, Jay.
Yes, it is.
720-272-3809 for all your draft system needs. He's the most trusted man in the business. His name is Jeff Rourke in A-Plus Beverage Solutions. Back to the show. Thank you guys for joining us. All the cool content that we've ever done 5 years worth on themoderneater.com. We have seen so many people, Juan, doing this show. It's great. We get to hear the stories. We get to have friends, the plights of people, their businesses. It's fascinating. But this year hurt. It stung because people suffered. The pain is real, and you can't help but take that in. I mean, you see it around you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we can sit here and we can harp on all the pain that we've all been through. We have, okay? I mean, I don't think we're not telling anybody anything they don't already know.
That's right.
You know, I mean, me telling a guy that relies on his bartending income that he can't take care of his family, he doesn't give a shit. He wants his job back.
Yep.
Okay, that's the bottom line. But the reality is there is balance in everything, and you know, and I would urge everybody to look for that balance. It's not just going to hit you in the face, but it's there. There have been good things that are happening. There are things that, you know, hopefully the folks that you work for have learned in terms of how to operate their businesses better and provide better environments and cleaner environments and safer environments for you as an employee. You know, certainly healthcare and wellness and things like that have come to the forefront. These are all things that I think are going to be good that come out of this. And again, you know, we just want to get these damn dining rooms open and we want to get these bars open. Those guys have been getting their heads kicked in, and that's bullshit. You know, but you know, I think I can, you know, what I heard, I don't know what you heard, what I heard from the governor is, you know, that, you know, they're worried about occupancy in these ICU beds, and he said that 78% of the folks that end up in the ICU are folks over the age of 70, and those folks are all getting inoculated right now and over the next 4 weeks before we go into the next phase. So I'm going to take that to mean that these dining rooms are going to start opening up here towards the end of January. I imagine that the governor will probably have some announcements about that, because I can say that you know, as somebody that does have an opportunity to talk to him, he does pick up the phone when you call, and he does call you back, and he does email you back, and he does text you back, and he does give a shit. Like I said, I don't fully agree with you know, how all this is being handled, but the reality is that, you know, his goal is the same as my goal, which is to get these dining rooms open. I know that for sure. So, and I don't think he wants to continue to get kicked in the head by the service industry. I think he wants to get these things open and get back to being able to dine in restaurants.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll have a seat at the table.
He will.
I hope he does too. Okay, without further ado, we need to do this. And in the comments, we'll get to some comments too, you guys. You can keep the comments flowing. The consensus is they didn't hear anything they haven't heard before, and we really need to address the mental health of the community.
That's right. Yep.
Addiction and things that we can do to get back on track, and then jobs. You know, I mean, decimated. It's been narrowed down, and that's why we have these gals on here with us. Let's introduce them. First of all, Sonia Riggs, the president and CEO of the Colorado Restaurant Association. Welcome back to the show, Sonia.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
Good to see you. And I believe, is Katie Lazor here with us as well, the director of Eat Denver. Katie, good to see you.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Hi, Katie.
Good to see you guys.
Sure. Did you guys have an opportunity to watch the interview with the governor?
I watched.
Sure
I
did.
got to see most of it. Yeah.
React. Sonia?
Well, I mean, I can start if you want. We certainly, first of all, I think it's great that he came on and spoke directly to the food service industry. I think that's really important. He like I think I'd heard you say earlier, or Juan say, is responsive. I certainly appreciate that he and his staff get back to us when we've got questions or we've got big concerns, and we continue to reach out to them, and they've been good about getting back to us. We're very frustrated, like the entire industry is, in the fact that this industry in particular is really being hit so hard, and we are just anxious to get restaurants back open again. And this industry has, in my opinion, already been very uniquely qualified to keep people safe. And we see so many restaurants going above and beyond, even what they're being asked to do. What my frustration is that we're just not seeing the hard data. And I know he had said that they've got it, but we're just not seeing hard data that's showing that specifically in restaurants is where people are getting this. It's, think about the private gatherings that are happening in your homes, and that you cannot control that for sustained periods of time. Those people are not necessarily sick sitting down. They could be, 2 feet from each other without masks on for hours. And so, certainly we're concerned about the survivability of this industry.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Go to Katie. Katie, what did you hear?
Yeah, one of the things that I know continuously frustrates all of us is looking at an industry like grocery. And I heard you talk with the governor a little bit about that. And, the vaccine rollout plan just got updated, and grocery workers are not only listed in phase 1B now ahead of restaurant workers, but they're called out specifically, whereas restaurant workers are in this bucket of other frontline workers. And it just feels like over and over, this industry that is massive, is 10% of our workforce. And I'm preaching to the choir here. We all know how massive it is and how much our whole community depends on restaurants. Just continuing to get overlooked and put in this bucket of other. So I find that vaccine rollout to be inconsistent with his description of the difference between being inside of a grocery store,
the
and
risk
a
level,
restaurant, and the risk level.
That's such an astute point, Katie, because there really is no logic. If you're saying that it's safer to be in a grocery store, well, why are they being vaccinated before where it's less safe to be? So inconsistent thought process there. And I think if there's anything consistent this year, Katie, we all know it's inconsistency. That's the only thing that's consistent.
That's right.
Well, and let me just speak to that briefly, Greg. We just sent a letter to the governor's office asking for, for restaurants to be considered in the same bucket as grocery stores. I think if this is really purposefully done, which it appears that it may have been, I'm hoping that they rethink it, and very quickly. It just would be very arbitrary. It wouldn't make any sense at all, especially when the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment has said that getting food, especially takeout and delivery from restaurants, may be a safer alternative for that high-risk population getting the food that they need. So why would you then discriminate when we're trying to help people? So I'm really hoping they're going to rethink that, and hopefully we'll see some changes here quickly. We'll certainly let folks know when we do. But
I guess I interpreted some of what he said a little bit. Well, maybe I should explain my interpretation. I think when he said that folks over the age of 70 will largely be inoculated over the next 4 weeks or so. I asked him, is that a good time to look at when dining rooms are going to reopen? And ultimately, vaccine or not, we're trying to get our damn dining rooms open, right? So if I'm going to read into that a little bit further, most grocery stores I go to, I would say probably have a much older workforce than restaurants. And that could potentially be the reason for that. But as long as the dining rooms get open and we know we have good protocol and we're following that protocol and guests are coming in and respecting the protocol, I feel like we can get these dining rooms open in the next few weeks here, 3 to 4 weeks in January. And, all these conversations can, shift to, tax credits and things like that are going to be necessary to save some businesses in Colorado.
One thing that struck me, you guys, is he had the Cheshire cat face, the look. And I think that's an optimism. I think he is very optimistic. And he mentioned a couple of times in his closing statement that we're going to ramp up. It's going to be a good year, 2021. Do we all believe right now is the darkest before the dawn? Is this the lowest point that we're at? And if so, I'd like to go to Sonia, because I believe you would have the statistics of really where we're at. What's the rebuilding point right now as far as restaurants and what's left? Who's surviving right now? And then we'll talk about where we go from here. Sonia, do you have anything on that?
Sadly, I don't have any specific updated numbers, although back in September, the National Restaurant Association told us that they estimated 1 in 6 restaurants had permanently closed. That was prior to the additional shutdowns we've seen now that more and more counties are in that red zone and cannot be open for indoor dining. I think, we get calls daily from restaurants around the state that are permanently shutting their doors. And I think that's the hard part. Is we've got to get this additional PPP into their pockets as quickly as possible, just to help them get through the next month or so. before we start seeing restaurants open indoors. But they've said overall they need to be at a 75% capacity to be able to survive medium term. So we've got to get these restaurants open. We've got to get the vaccines out. We've got to get money in their hands as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a very different world for us. And our communities will not be as pleasant. That's for sure.
Sonia, when you're out lobbying on our behalf, and Katie, you can maybe answer some of this too. Are we looking at the restaurant industry as a whole, or are we saying, hey, look, if you have a space, for example, that has 2 garage doors that open up, is there a way to apply for a variance? Like in Boulder, Avanti has their roof. They applied for a variance. They're able to seat their roof because they have garage doors on 2 sides. Boulder, of all places, gave them a variance, right? Have we had the conversation around like what would constitute a reasonable protocol and to allow some places to apply for variances so that we can focus our funds? Like, look, at the end of the day, am I grateful to get a $10,000 grant? Yeah, but I honestly don't need it as much as I know a lot of other restaurants do. And I want them to get it. You know what I'm saying? And so, they should be getting that. So we should be looking at it, in my opinion, as, hey, if you have the ability to create an indoor-outdoor space, you shouldn't really have to worry about this frickin' 5-star program, and you shouldn't have to, and you should be able to seat inside. And we should focus our resources and our time on taking care of those restaurants that have that are small, that don't have good ventilation, that are in old buildings, and we should be giving the funds to them. Where is this CARES Act money that Douglas County, for God's sakes, apparently gave $500,000 to 2 different restaurants through the CARES Act? I saw that on CBS. Al GNA reported that last night. Like, where's the CARES Act money in the city of Denver, and why isn't that going to these restaurants and these vulnerable populations?
Well, there were a lot of questions in that, but let me just start with a few things. So how are we advocating? We're advocating everywhere we can. We had a meeting with the governor's office last week with engineers talking about air circulation, and if we can help restaurants get to a certain quality of air circulation, can we get them open one level beyond what we're looking for the 5-star program? And they're open to considering that. We need to follow up with some more data for them. But, it's more than $5,000 or $10,000. It's going to be PPP funding on the federal side. It's going to be, we, as you know, have grant programs not only to restaurant workers who have been out of work. That's been about $2 million we've given out so far. And another $2.3 million going out the door for outdoor spaces. I agree with you that if we can see other indoor spaces that really look like outdoor spaces. So the way that the governor's office defined it is that, yes, if you've got 2 totally open sides, that really counts as an outdoor space. And I think that those should be allowed everywhere. We are actually dividing up the industry a bit because not all restaurants are hurting. So the ones that are hurting the most are these full service, traditionally independent restaurants that are really the ones that are getting killed. I'm hearing from some folks that are in the quick service industry or traditionally have done pizza delivery that they're actually hanging in there and doing okay. It's really these traditional full service guys that really everybody considers our neighborhood gems that have been the hardest hit. And so we're focusing, we traditionally focus on the entire industry, but we're being very clear right now that we're really trying to help those that are being hurt the most. And so that's where we're focusing our efforts wherever we can. But, and eDenver's been a great partner of ours. Katie and I served together on a recovery committee in Denver. Wherever we can help is where we are trying. It does not stop in one area. I mean, we're working with epidemiologists to help us get data of our own. Like I mentioned, we're working on air circulation. We're working on trying to get money. We're advocating at every level, whether it's for state funding or at the federal level. So it just isn't any one thing.
I wholeheartedly agree, Juan, with your statement that, and look at you, you have a great team with a lot of vast resources and able to find money and not leave money on the table, right? There are a lot of people that are underserved or have a lot less resources that are kind of just trying to navigate, not only doing their daily business operations, but trying how to move forward and find the money that they need. And I think to allocate those resources or have them available could be a great service to the community right now.
How do you find working working with the governor's office versus like the local, like the mayor's office in the county? Governor Polis, talked about how the county is really the governing body that decides what's actually going to happen in these restaurants. Is there a big difference in the way they view the reopening of restaurants?
There is a difference in county by county. I don't know that it's as much as how they view restaurants. I mean, in some cases it is. There are some counties that are saying they're not going to apply for the 5-star program because they don't agree with it as a principle. So, we're asking the state to allow those restaurants in those areas to be able to apply directly through the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment or through the governor's office to be part of the 5-star program. I think the longer we've gone through this, cities and counties, as well as the state, are seeing how badly restaurants have been impacted. And by the way, it's also impacting their bottom lines. It's also impacting the money that cities and the state are bringing in through tax revenue. So they're then hurting, and therefore the public's hurting with other things that they're able to do in their communities, right? So I'm feeling that right now, as opposed to the beginning, we're seeing a lot more general understanding of just how much this industry is hurting. And I think people are more willing to help than they ever have before. But the fact is that not every county is built the same. And Denver, while they are trying to move through and get the 5-star program, they've got a lot of hurdles that they've got to get through. They've got approximately 7,000 businesses that they would be looking at certifying and doing site visits for, as opposed to some of the counties that are already open that have 150 or 200 businesses that can do it much faster. It's not a simple question and therefore not a simple answer, but just know I at least am feeling like there's a lot more sympathy or empathy for this industry than I've seen ever before.
I think maybe let me rephrase it, because really what I'm asking is the way the governor's office looks at it, like saying, hey, are they more intent on getting restaurants open than the city and county of Denver? Is the city and county of Denver being more cautious, or are they in line with the government? Are they working together?
I think they're working together. I really do. And Katie, jump in if you have a different answer here. But I really do think they both want to get restaurants open. I think the difficulty is the laws that are already in place, for example, in Denver, make it much more cumbersome for them to launch a program like this than, say, other counties do. But the intent is there. I really do believe that they're in a lot of ways trying to move forward. It's just frustrating in some cases where you've got these bigger counties that it just takes longer, or they've got more strict rules in place that don't allow them in some times to get out of their own way. But it's certainly not for lack of trying. I think they are anxious to see these businesses survive, because it's really going to change the landscape of our communities if they don't.
Absolutely. I want to jump to Katie Lazor, director of Eat Denver. We'll just start at that beginning question I posed to Sonia. Katie, do you believe we're at the lowest point right now and it's time to heal and rebuild from here? Where do you believe we're at?
God, I hope so. I do believe that we're at the lowest point. And although it is very hard to hear from the governor that this coming year will be a banner year for dining, it will certainly be better than 2020. I do, Sonia knows this. We've talked about this. It's going to be a long recovery, and especially with the state's COVID dial.
Hey, Katie, I hate to interrupt, but you're sideways right now. Your camera's side. There you go.
Am I good now?
Now put it back though. Now put it back the way you had it.
You're fantastic.
Yeah.
This way?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Now we're in.
Okay, sorry to interrupt your thought process there. Go ahead.
The struggles of the outdoor office right now. It's hard to hear him say that, especially when our current state dial has restaurants only at 50% capacity at our best level within COVID. So at the green, we don't, right now, obviously 0 indoors, then we go to 25, then 50, then we stay at 50 in the green level as of now. Hopefully he will have an appetite to change that, especially with more data and the tone that he came to this conversation with. We did all hear him say, I want restaurants to be open, and I think they should be open. So it's going to take more than 50% capacity. We all know that. So we need to work on how we evolve into the green level and how that goes, how we get to 100, not just 50. No one can survive that.
Absolutely. Guys, how are you on time? There's a couple of more things that I want to cover. I want to talk about the outdoor dining. There are some things, grants that are out there, and Angel Relief Fund. Also, things that should be considered. And moving into this new year, what are the things that we can look forward to as we just try and rebuild from here? Are you guys good on time? Can we get you one more segment?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, fantastic.
Katie. Good on time, too.
All right, stand by. Thank you guys for joining us. Past shows, themoderneater.com. Again, big thanks to Juan Padró today, coming, helping facilitate this. Owe you a lot of gratitude and thanks, and really just as a mentor to me, I look up to a lot of the things that you do, and for this community, too. Well, it's great.
Thanks for being the voice of the industry.
It's great to have you here today. Okay, we'll break away. We'll come back. You'll hear from some good local sponsors. Not good, great. These are the guys in a decimated industry to keep the Modern Eater alive. It means more than ever to us, more than you'll ever know. On this sunny day in the Mile High City in the Front Range, hopefully this is the beginning of optimism, of a new look, of a healing process. And again, there's one thing that I saw this year, and it was the resiliency and the creativeness of this industry and the family that we have and created and solidified. We need to get back up to running. We'll be back up. You're not marked in history of how you are doing your best. You're marked in history of when you're down. We're getting up off the mat, and we're going to fight out another round because that's what we do. We'll break off right now from Studio Kitchen, Colorado. This is the Modern Eater Show.
Hey guys, Alex Armitage over at Sam's No. 3 Glendale. You want a Bloody Mary? You want a cheeseburger? You want a breakfast burrito? Greek salad? Bacon gyro meat? Chicken souvlaki? Barbecue ranch salad? We got you covered. Come down and see us. One more time. Try it again. Hey guys, Alex Armitage over here at Sam's No. 3 Glendale. Now get your ass to themoderneater.com. Thank you so much.
We started Meridium Spirits because we love the way that spirits and cocktails can bring people together to socialize, to bond, to have conversations. Well, right now we've got some big conversations to have. Coop Vodka and Coop Gin are available at liquor stores across the metro area, but if you can't find us or would like to have us behind your bar or at your restaurant, send us an email, info@meridiumspirits.com. We know things are a little different these days, but think of us the next time you're planning a virtual happy hour or a socially distant picnic. And keep an eye on our social media, Coop by Meridium, for all the latest and greatest.
Hey guys, it's Caroline Glover. I'm the chef owner of Annette out at Stanley Marketplace. Citrus is about to be in its prime. I just want to thank everybody for showing so much support to small local restaurants in this really hard time. And you're watching the Modern Eater Show. I'm fine.
All right, back to the show in just a second, you guys. But before we do it, I want to talk to you about this right here. Aspen Baking Company. I'm a bread guy. We just lost the signal. Yeah.
Back, go.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm a bread guy.
Oh, Jay's trying to do something.
I have to make a decision. I'm a bread guy, all right? I don't need meat, I don't need cheese. Since 1994, Aspen Baking Company, you guys, right here, aspenbaking.com. That's where you go to get the freshest bread in the city. Our buddy Jeff Nations over there is the definition of small business and hardworking. So if you're a bread person like me and you love bread and you need bread for the holiday and you need bread for the new year, aspenbaking.com is where you go to get that bread. And now back to the show.
Okay, hopefully there is a show because I am looking and it looks like the stream is stuttering out right now. I don't know if that's the higher beings telling us something right now. Hopefully it will reconnect, but in the meantime, you just keep going forward with these types of things. And welcome back to Studio Kitchen Colorado, Greg Hollenback and Juan Padró, Jay Parker. And we're going to continue on with this conversation with Sonia Riggs, President and CEO of the Colorado Restaurant Association, and Katie Lazor, the Director of Eat Denver. Okay, guys, as we look forward into the new year, and I think, boy, we sure all need this, let's talk about some of the things. Outdoor patios and some relief. The Angel Relief Fund still giving out grants, Sonia. Talk to us about what that looks like right now.
Well, so there's two kind of grants that the Angel Relief Fund is giving out. We've given out so far about $2 million, as I've mentioned earlier, to restaurant workers who are unemployed or underemployed during COVID. And it's an ongoing program that we do even outside of COVID for emergency relief assistance for restaurant workers. The other side is the outdoor grant program. We've given out around $850,000 so far. As we've got more money coming in, those that have already applied, well, that's okay.
We're not streaming right now, Jay? No?
Well, we're recording, so it's,
great.
So that I have the full thing.
Okay, good. Go ahead. We have this. It'll post. Go ahead, Sonia.
Okay. So those that have already applied and have gotten some funding but haven't gotten their full grant will likely get more money. There are also folks that have not gotten a grant yet but were qualified in some way will probably get some money as well. We're sorting through all of those applications. So before opening a third round, we think what we're going to do is look at everybody that's already applied and get them more money, up to $10,000, just to help with their outdoor spaces. I know that's not the end all be all, but any little bit helps. And I so far the folks that we've heard back from have been super grateful. So people can go to www.angelrelieffund.org to apply for the individual grants for unemployed or underemployed workers. And they can go to cooutdoordining.org just for more information on our regular grants.
That's fantastic. Okay, what else?
Sonia, wait, I have to jump in and just say what Sonia and her team have done with the Angel Relief Fund this year has been phenomenal. There's been so much interest in supporting restaurant workers, and the fact that they had the framework and had already set up the Angel Relief Fund before COVID and had all the tools and the willingness to facilitate all of this is just incredible and something to be really proud of. It's been an enormous impact.
Man, I love this community, right? Just working together. I want to just do a little round robin of last thoughts, and we'll start with you, Sonia. Go ahead, and we're going to put a ribbon on this for today.
Well, you asked earlier, I think, about people finding out about PPP funding. We are planning on doing a webinar about that next week so that people can find out how to get their funding and what they can use it for as quickly as possible. We were happy to see in this program that there were extra provisions given out to specifically to the restaurant industry that were not given to other industries. So, that being said, we know this is not the silver bullet. It's just a Band-Aid to get us through for a short amount of time. What we really think the federal government needs to do is provide a restaurant-specific package, which we're hoping once the Biden administration takes over, we'll see something like that, or at least a larger amount of funding specifically for restaurants. But overall, I think what I would say is, to our restaurants, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if we can be of help. To the public, please go out to eat with your family in counties that are opening up to another level. In some cases, they'll let you go out with one other party. Order in, get delivery. Anything helps. It just we need more help than ever just to get through the next couple of months until things can open back up. And then lastly,
wait, but Sonia, you have to prove it like me. Look at me. Does it look like I've missed a meal? Okay.
Thank you, Greg.
You've got to be able to prove it. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it.
The last thing is to lawmakers and to legislators out there, please go easy on us this year in the legislative session. We need as much help as we can get, and any additional regulation that's burdensome to this industry is going to even be more devastating. And they need to think about those that they're hurting the most, which are these small, full-service, traditional neighborhood gems of restaurants that are really, really struggling. And so, they just need help wherever they can get it.
Gosh, well said, well said. Katie, throw a ribbon on this.
One thing I want to just make sure we all keep with us in the new year is we've all been advocating so hard and in our own ways for this industry. And we know that, we keep regurgitating these numbers that are supposed to represent the value of this restaurant industry, like number of jobs, number of sales, all these numbers that are definitely massive. We are a massive industry that I do think is overlooked in that way. But even more so than that, especially our independent restaurant community, what we've lost this year, we've lost over 100 different institutions in the Denver area that represent so much more than the great jobs that they provide and sales tax and funding to our local governments. But they are places of inclusion and connection, and those communities that they have established for themselves are gone. And there's just so many things that are that we can't measure about the value of a restaurant and the impact that it brings to our community. So what I'll just say is we know more than ever how valuable they are. We've seen firsthand restaurants donating food to frontline workers, their own furloughed workers, standing up testing centers like Juan, how essential they are to our mental health, our economy, all of the things. So we just need to honor the restaurants that we've lost this year by continuing to fight for this industry's survival, especially the independent restaurants that just mean so much to us that we can't really describe, but we all know in our bones. So to Sonia's point, we need to keep fighting for that dedicated restaurant aid that we deserve. The Restaurants Act is still on the table, and we need to see that through. We need to advocate for testing placement for restaurant workers, for, like we heard the governor say, that he's in favor of continuing the sales tax retention, the ability for restaurants to keep the state sales tax that they collect past its current expiration. So the fight is certainly not over, although there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're still in the marathon, as you said, Greg. So we just need to use all the information that we've been gathering and all of our messaging and just keep fighting for this industry. But yeah, let's take a moment and honor what we've lost as well while we've all been in the trenches.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so well said. So well said, Katie. Katie Lazor, Eat Denver. And offline, and may or may not make you blush, Juan said to me, Katie could easily step into a Fortune 500 company and run it seamlessly right off the bat. And I
don't know about that, but I appreciate that.
She needs a little training, but she could certainly do it.
Use that as leverage sometime,
learner.
Katie.
Yeah.
You guys are great. I can't thank you enough for joining us here on the show today. Katie Lazor, Eat Denver, and Sonia Riggs, President and CEO of the Colorado Restaurant Association. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.
So good to be with you. Thank you.
Happy New Year to them. Juan.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how you feel about today.
I
what do you think we're going to get? What kind of feedback do you think we're going to get?
What kind of feedback?
Are they going to hit us?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
I mean, I get hit all the time on social media for a lot softer stuff than this, so I'm sure you do too. So, to kind of get my final thoughts on the day, I think it was cool that Jared came on and I can't even begin to tell you how busy somebody in that position is, and to take the time to come and talk to the industry, I think is important. I feel a lot of the same frustration that a lot of other restaurant owners feel and bar owners feel, just in terms of where we are. I cannot even begin to understand what some of our workers are feeling like. I am not in their shoes. I am trying to be as empathetic as I can and help where I can personally, but I am extremely worried about those kids and making sure that they're in a position where they're happy and they're healthy and they can pay their rent and live the lifestyle that they join this industry. We're an industry that relies on touch and human interaction, and I think that that's something that's not talked about enough. It's not just shutting the industry down in a paycheck, and I keep hearing that over and over and over again from politicians and from people who don't understand our industry. Our industry thrives on human interaction and human touch, and hospitality, caring for one another, and empathy and compassion. And when that's not getting, reciprocated, that's hard enough. But when all of that is ripped away from you, that causes a lot of problems. And I think that we need to, pay very close attention to that as business owners, as politicians, as leaders. This isn't just about getting these businesses up and running. We keep talking about these businesses. It's about taking care of these kids.
And we need some victories under our belt.
That's right.
Makes you feel better.
Yep.
Just get that head of steam. I hope we can get it. I think we can.
We'll get it.
Yeah,
I promise you.
Yeah, we gotta go get it.
We'll
That's the Juan Padró promise.
Yes, the Juan Padró promise. We'll get it.
We'll get it, and taking care of. Can I borrow $100?
Sure, man.
Sure, whatever you need.
20% interest.
Let me get in on that. Hundy.
Put a ribbon on this last show of the year, and I can't be happy enough to put this year behind us. But what I will say is, the following year, 2021, there's going to be some challenges. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that's something that we've lacked for a long time, just blind faith, right? Just walking out there on the plank and with blindfolded saying things are going to work out. That's a tough thing to do, and a lot of folks have done that. We need to reward them. And just like Katie said, the folks that have become casualties in this, let's think of them, and let's think about how we can get people back into a productive method no matter where they are. But messaging, retraining people to get back to the habits that they had before. I mean,
or there's going to be new habits.
There are going to be
new habits. So the one thing that the workers have to understand when they come into restaurants and stuff like that is that process and service and things like that are changing. And if you want to be at the top of the list of all the great restaurants in this town, there's great places to work. You need to get updated on what that looks like, and you should be having those conversations now, because the industry will look different, but it doesn't mean that people are going to come out. There's no doubt about that. 60% of food in America runs through restaurants. It's how we feed our country. So we have that to look forward to, but there's going to be some innovation, and don't get left behind. Educate yourself, have good conversations, stay focused, work hard, get
and the words of my mom, go out there and take a walk. Get some fresh air. Knock the dust off, because you got to be ready to be ready. And when we're going to hit the ground running, which I think we are, the best of the best are going to come back to work first. And you've got to really start thinking of yourself, your mental health, your physical well-being, all of those things. And
I do. Can I just say something about
absolutely.
that? Mental health, extremely important. I don't give a shit whether you think you need to go talk to somebody right now. Go. I do not care. We use a great resource called Cassette Wellness. A lot of our kids use it, and they are super industry focused.
The name again?
Cassette, K-H-E-S-E-D, Wellness. A woman named Heather Lundy runs it, who's a great, just a really great person. And she's got a bunch of former service industry people that work as counselors and that have, gone on to get advanced degrees and really understand our industry. And then the feedback that I've gotten from my staff that has used them has been great. There are other great resources out there too. That's the one we choose to use, but go out there and start the healing process now. It doesn't start when we're back at 100% capacity and the shots are flying and stuff like that, because all you're doing is not dealing with what's happening right now, which is very real.
I'm always the silver lining guy. And here's what's interesting about right now is, if you ever had some kind of apprehension to reach out to somebody because you don't want to be judged, and you don't want to be labeled a basket case, there's a great chance of whoever you reach out to right now, they're feeling the same stuff.
That's right.
They're going to relate with you more than ever.
Everybody's got their shit, 100%.
And so don't even be afraid. And the worst that you can do is you walk away and go, I just helped somebody. I needed help, and I just helped somebody.
Well, let me tell you something. A lot of healing occurs by you going and trying to do it, and a lot of times the reverse happens.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I learned that through the philanthropy work that you do. When you go and you give yourself to something, what you get back is so much more.
You never know where you'll get a spark.
That's right.
You never know.
So
my spark comes from Jay Parker, who's probably wanting to hurt himself right now. The last show of the year, the stream interrupted at the end, but it keeps recording, so when it reposts, all of this good stuff will be here. Jay, you do such great work, man. You put your heart and soul into it, and those glasses does he look, how many IQ points? Does he look like he's got Juan?
Juan doesn't have time for me right now. You know what I mean? He goes, oh, wait a minute. You're talking to Jay? It's like,
interrupted. I'm out of here. Let's go.
Yeah, he goes, no, I have a 16-year-old that works for me. I don't need to hear it, Jay. Yeah, I want to freak out. And to Juan's point of
mental health,
it is so real, you know. And if I didn't have like certain people in my life that I talk to, and some of them have experience and actual professional experience in there, I would definitely seek out to talk to somebody just to sit down and get it all out. Just, you know, whether or not I need it, right? Or these are tough times. So if you feel that way, man, talk to anybody. You know what I mean? Call me. Email me.
Oh, well, I don't know.
You want to feel better about yourself?
You'll try and sleep with them. I don't know.
You want to feel better about yourself?
All right. Let's go, you guys. I mean, really, I don't know. It's just like we have to be. We have to be. I mean, we can't keep dwelling on spilt milk. It is what it is. We are where we are. We are what we are.
We're not changing anything that already happened.
That's right.
So.
All right, let's go get them. Let's go get them. 2021 is on the horizon. A lot of great new partnerships coming up. Be creative. Be positive. Look forward. And moreover, treat each other well. We got this. Thank you, Juan.
All right, brother.
All right. We're going to take off. Jay Parker, great work. Little Rich Schneider, Brian Freeman, can't do this stuff without you. Studio Kitchen, Colorado, we're out. We'll see you next time on The Modern Eater Show.